Okay, everybody, how we doing? Roll in the ambulance car. Roll your hands up if you roll in the ambulance car. So my computer is over here, so I can see myself over here. And so, but I'm connecting my laptop to my phone. That's a thing now, which is awesome. Because back then when I had my, let me see, so like back then when I had my other YouTube channel, I was using my phone, and then I had connected my microphone to my iPad to GarageBand? GarageBand, and then I was recording the video and then the audio. Then I had to sync the video and the audio, and then it was just like a hot mess. But my daughter's sleeping, and so I figured this would be a really good time to record what I've been reading. So you guys, these past couple of days, I have been reading 28 Summers by Elin Hilderbrand. I made it to page 246. Now, what I usually like to do is because the way that my brain works, it's like the more kids I have 3, but the more kids I have, the worse my memory gets. And so I be forgetting stuff. And especially when I become very loquacious and I'm just like talking. I be forgetting some of the things. And so I figure writing things down now would help, but I be going off script. I had a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about last episode that I didn't even go over because I wasn't reading the script because I was going off or whatever the case may be. But anyways, so oh my gosh, you guys. So I had ordered, I'm super excited. I would show you guys on my phone, but I can't because I'm using my phone to record the video. But I had ordered Liane Moriarty's book. I forgot what it's called. And I ordered a book from Jodi Picoult by any other name, I think it's called. Love Jodi Picoult books because she's just a good writer. I remember I was reading Between the Pages or something like that she co-wrote with her daughter Samantha. I think her name is Samantha something. But that was back when I was pretty young, and I was so smitten by the male love interest. Yeah, and that's how I got introduced to Jodi Picoult. Of course, there was was it My Sister's Keeper or something like that? I think we had to read it or something like that. But I know that there was a movie with Cameron Diaz or something like that. I don't think I watched the movie, but that exists. But I know of Jodi Picoult, okay? I think I read Small Places or Small Perfect Things or something like that when I had my first booktube channel years ago. Was there another book that I read from her? No, but I did get a bunch of books that I planned on reading. That was the goal, but then, I got rid of all the books. And so I'm trying to decide of whether or not I want to get my library back up again, or do I want to just get a Kindle and then just get it there because it's cheaper, I always feel guilty when I because my husband, he's like Julius from Everybody Hates Chris. And even though he's working on it, he's getting a lot better, I still think that he has a point. I don't think that I need to purchase make large lump sums of purchases, and I don't need to be, how you call it, a shopaholic, an unhealthy consumer, buying things just because. I feel like the Kindle, I don't know how that really goes. I didn't really do too much research on it, but I figure it would be cheaper if I just did it on Kindle and just got it digitally. And so yeah, but even though I do love a good physical copy that I can have in my hands, and I don't want to be too much into the whole reading on screen type thing, but I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm considering it. I'm not 100% sure on it, but so there's that. I got some books for my kids as well, and also too, I'm thinking about doing a puzzle this week. So another thing that I really love to do ever since I was a wee baby. Okay, not a wee baby, but a child. I love to do puzzles, jigsaw puzzles. crossword puzzles. When we get our second house, I want to have room just for all of my hobby stuff so that they could breathe. I feel like they're suffocating in the closet and I just feel so guilty. But I'm the type of person, like, I have hobbies, and it's like when I'm in my mode, I'll have my crochet mode that I'm in for a while. I'm in my puzzles mode and I'm in that for a while. I have my reading, gaming, all that type of stuff like that. But I kind of feel like, a few weeks ago, maybe like a week ago, I should say a week and a half ago, I did a puzzle, and sometimes my kids come and like they help me out, but I did a puzzle and that was pretty fun. It was like a little shop type thing. Should I go get it? It's all the way up there though. I'll get it. Okay. I could just always edit that part out, right? But so 2 weeks ago, I decided to do this puzzle. So I am a fan of The Wizard of Oz. Anything with The Wizard of Oz, I'm a fan. I love Wizard of Oz. I love, love, love Judy Garland. She's one of my favorite actress, singers, performers of all time. And I feel very connected very much to The Wizard of Oz. When I was in high school, I worked with Todrick D. Hall, and he created a musical called The Magical Land of Oz. It was a long time ago. And I played Dorothy. And so I've always had like a connection to Dorothy. Love, love, love the story. Love the concept. Love the hidden messaging. All that jazz. So after I did that, which my kid helped me out a little bit, this one was kind of a little bit, if I'm being honest, like this kind of felt it's a little hard on the eyes. It's really harsh. The illustration looks pretty harsh. And so, there was that. Hi, beep. So yeah, this was pretty harsh on the eyes, but I got it done. That was fun. And then I moved on to this cute puzzle. Oh my gosh. Stitch by Stitch. 1,000 pieces. This is by Gallison, I think. Oh my gosh. I love this. This was so fun. I would say the hardest is always like when it's like this area. I start off with the edges first. Then I worked down here. That was pretty fun. And then I just kind of like broke it off into like all the different patterns that I was able to like find and stuff like that. And then I did this last. I'm trying to decide here. Do I want to do a big project or do I want to stick with the thousands? So we have this one, the Sicilian Cove. This one is Elena Essex. This is 1,000 pieces as well. I started this like a while back. Did the edges, managed to do the entire edge. I did the line for it. I think I did all of this area. I was working on this. I wasn't having that much, I wasn't having a good time. And I think that's probably why it took me so long. And then I just decided I was just gonna like take it apart. I'm trying to decide if I want to do that or do I want to do a big project. Look at this one, 3,000 pieces. If you guys know who she is, let's do it this way. Yeah. Karen Puzzles. I love her. Love her. I watch her videos when I'm like on my treadmill sometimes, like especially when she does her competitions. Love watching them. I've seen a couple of the lives. Really fun. Like I don't do puzzles in like one sitting. It takes me a while, like days, maybe even weeks to do it. But then I gotta think about it just being on the table for all that time and then like recording and all that stuff like that. I got to figure out like how I'm going to make this work for me because I'm not really, really sure, but I know I want to do a puzzle. I was thinking about looking up some puzzles on Amazon, like 500 piece puzzles. I could kind of scratch that itch for me, just enough, so I don't really know. I was on Canvas because I was trying to edit my thumbnail for the video that I had dropped for last week's Friday Reads. I was so sad because like I was looking at all the old thumbnails that I had from my previous channel when I was doing Friday Reads and I miss it so much. Like, oh my gosh. Like I've been battling with like weight loss and all that stuff like that after just having my baby, my daughter. And, I'm really hard on myself when it comes down to like my weight. Like it's just been a struggle for such a long time. At that time, I felt like I was overweight. But when I look at myself then and I just wish I could give myself a hug and just say like, hey, like, you're not fat, right? Just appreciate how you look right now because you will get fatter. Okay? That's a guaranteed. I honestly thought that I was like so big. Like, like it's crazy. But I always feel this way. Like, even when I was in high school and I was voted best body, I thought I was like fat back then. I cannot wait till I lose all this baby weight once and for all. Because this is my last kid. I'm not having any more kids. So like the love handles, all that, have fun now. Because when it's over for good. I'm never going back to fat because it's not fun for me, at least. But anyways, so there was that, just kind of like looking at my old pictures and old thumbnails that I had created and just like feeling really sad. Like all the books that I've read, all the things that I've said, the videos. Like I used to, even when I wasn't like recording or anything for Fridayreads, it was always fun to like kind of like look back to my opinions on books, especially if I was doing rereads, to see like things change and stuff like that. So the fact that I deleted all of it, because I was just so hormonal and emotional, like it was just like, what was I thinking? That was back when I first started locking my hair and it was like really, really short and like stringy and all that stuff like that. Like it was before I even had locks. And I had natural hair. Oh my gosh. All gone, all down the drain. I didn't even save it on like a flash drive or anything. So they're all gone. They're all gone. Let's get into what we read. Because let me tell you something. If y'all think my opinion changed on these two individuals, it has not. It has not. I still don't like them. Mallory's in her 30s now. Nothing's changed. If anything, just there's more characters in the story now. The circumstances are a bit different, but most of the things are the same. As far as the mindset goes, still the same. And I was just sitting here reading it and I was just like, you know what? Like at the end of the day, do you really know him like that? Like, please let me know. Because I'm really trying to understand, like, this girl is ruining her life for this guy. Mind you, this guy we already know he's married. It says it in the beginning, okay? We talked about it in the other video. We know this guy is married. My thing is, why can't she have a life? Like, it's blowing my mind how she's really just like, honestly, life is hard for a side chick. That's all I have to say. Like, cause it's like, at the end of the day, like, do you really know him? If I put myself in a situation, right, where I decide to love somebody and I'm afraid to tell them that I love them because I'm not sure if they love me back. First of all, I don't know the person. I don't know him. Like I think I know him. I don't think this is love. I think there's high levels of infatuation here on the table. Okay, I think that's what it is. They don't really know each other. They spend one weekend out of the entire year. This is not love, guys. I don't know what to tell you. This isn't love. I like books like this though, where it gets me really hyped up because I'm just like, yo, I am so over them. They're really getting on my last nerve. Here's the thing with the writing that I'm realizing. Elin Hilderbrand, and I think I probably mentioned this before. I don't know if it made the final cut, but Ellen has this with this particular writing, she kind of like glosses over things. And sometimes we'll even skip the weekend. We barely spent a lot of time on Labor Day weekend with them because like we get a good, a little chunk of what they did that weekend and then we're on to the next, you know what I'm saying? And like, it's like a big old summary where nothing really, it happens so much that I don't necessarily really feel connected to the characters because it just kind of feels like we're just skimming through their lives. So it's like, you got to go through 28 summers, I'm guessing. And so it kind of feels like, how can we condense all of those summers, right, with their lives, their individual lives? And then there are some parts where we get perspectives from like Ursula or freaking Breyer for like a split second, which was like so unnecessary. I was like, why are we getting, he's literally a throwaway character. Breyer is not a significant character. He's just there for a second and then he's gone the next. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even get Laylan's perspective. We kind of get an understanding of how she feels, which is like, oh my God, I felt like Laylan and I, we were here. when it came down to, really dissecting Mallory. I said she was childish. She said that she was a follower and that she was suggestible. I was like, well, there you go. You know her more than I do. But I thought that scene was super duper funny. But we freaking get a perspective from Brayer. Oh my gosh. And the Mallory worship just doesn't stop. Like, it's like everybody loves her. I would be on board with it if Mallory was the type of person that could carry the torch. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to keep like dumping on her, whatever the case may be, but I'm just so fed up with her. The choices that she's making is like pissing me off. Like, she literally threw away a relationship so she could be a side piece for 1 weekend out of the year. Mind you, Jake is married. Jake has a child now with Ursula. Jake has a house, has a career. Ursula is running for office. Their child Bess is having the best life ever with both her parents in her lives and a nanny. And Mallory is freaking in Nantucket by her lonesome with her child. And then there are times where she's talking about how she's lonely. And then the Nantucket gods bless her with somebody. And then she says, no. Why? Because she thinks she's in love with freaking Jake. Oh my gosh, I'm so over this. Oh my God, my husband is calling me. Gotta make sacrifices, baby. Okay. Oh. Okay, so all right, so let's go back in time. So we were talking about how, there was like the whole tape. They were at the tape store or whatever the case may be. Okay, I still don't remember exactly what was happening necessarily, but I think I had like typed a quote or something like that, and I wrote, "This what she said. This our girl. This is what Ellen says." And that's the thing. And I feel. How do I say it? I feel offended because this is our girl. Mallory is our girl. No, ma'am, that's your girl. Oh, Jake is our boy. No, ma'am, that's your boy. You can have them. I don't want them. They don't belong to me. So I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, so it says, it's one thing for us to be together when she's happy and preoccupied with work, but it's another thing for us to be together when she's dealing with this kind of life-changing loss. You shouldn't be with me. You should be with her. Like, okay, at the time Ursula's dad passed away. And of course, the thing that got me I was cracking up is because she said, "What?" It was like, why did he have to die this weekend? Why he couldn't die? Was it Jake? Was it Jake? One of them was upset that Ursula's dad died. Did decide to die on the weekend they were together. They was like, why couldn't it happen like next weekend? Right? Like, or tomorrow. Dang, it's crazy out here in these Nantucket streets. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. The whole scene with Leyland. So Leyland and her partner Fifi goes to visit Mallory in Nantucket. Weird situation. Why is Fifi a thing? What's going on? Like, that's so weird. You know what I'm saying? That whole scene, I was like, I could do without that. Bizarre, right? Totally bizarre. So they go to her cottage in Nantucket, and like Fifi is very flirtatious. She's very much like, I'm gonna invade your personal space with my body, with my personality, with my ideas, with my just so invasive. Like, her personality was just too much. I was so uncomfortable. I was like, girl, get this lady off the page. Okay, so Mallory cuts her hand. And her hand starts to bleed, right? Fifi puts her hand in her mouth and sucks her finger in like a very seductive way. Mallory lets her. Leland's in the room. Crazy. Mallory is whack for that. Like, I was sitting there and I'm like, yo, just why I don't like her. Another reason why I don't like her, because she said she don't like theater. So I was like, I knew there was something about her. But anyways, yeah, so she's sucking on her finger like a vampire. And I'm like, yo, your best friend is in it. What if she walks out? And then she does walk out and she doesn't even freaking tell. Mallory doesn't even tell Leyland, like, yo, your girlfriend is like tripping right now. Like, she says nothing, but then she gets the nerve to get offended because Leyland called her a follower and said she was suggestible. But when you think about it, Leyland's right. And Mallory realizes it because like there was a time when she meets this guy, freaking Bayer, And he has like a boat or whatever the case may be, and they go on the boat for a couple of visits or whatever, and then like after that whole situation was over, she goes and she gets a boat. We don't ever hear about the boat again. Like, I think she takes Jake on the boat like one time. She done got her license or whatever. She did the school thing. The guy gives her the boat for free for as long as I've been reading so far. Haven't seen the boat since. Haven't heard of the boat since. So I was like, yeah, of course. When she told Jake that she got a boat, I was like, I wonder why you got the boat, Mallory. At first, I was here for the Bears relationship, but then he ended up being a dud and just a throwaway character, which was like, of course. We need those throwaway characters so we can just kind of like allow, so that Mallory has something going on while she's sitting there waiting for Jake or whatever. Okay, so there was a holiday that takes place where she goes back home to be with her parents. So Freyr's peoples, right? There was like a whole big situation where his dad was caught cheating or whatever the case may be, and he left to go be with the side piece or whatever. And Mallory took it personal, not to the point where she was distraught, but she took it personal because she felt like his decision to do what he did affected how they was moving forward with their holiday traditions as you know, the two families hanging out together. And I was like, girl, you got some nerve talking about how I wish Stallone would have thought about it or whatever the case may be. Like, girl, please. Like, does she not recognize her actions and the potential consequences she can have for herself and Jake and the people that they're involved with? Okay. I'm not laughing. Oh my gosh. Anyway, what were we talking about? Okay, yeah. So yeah, Bray, she had a relationship with this guy named Brer who was like 10 years older than her. And oh yeah, so Cooper gets married again. Oh my gosh, like this cast of characters is a hot stinking mess. And so they had, like, Ursula she gets invited to the wedding as well. And Mallory is so jealous. Like, how dare she be here? I think she said something like, oh, like, I'm not going to allow her presence to spoil things for me or whatever. Like, girl, bye. Like, okay. Like, know your place, sis. Like, life shows no mercy for side chicks and cheaters, okay? She ends up having a messy, drunken tussle in the woods with Frasier. And then she ends up pregnant because he didn't his pull-out game is weak. And so I remember thinking to myself at the time, like, dang, she smashed the homie. Like, this is crazy. Like, what are we doing here? But of course, like, I guess, like, it's not a big deal. So it's like, yes, so what? I guess I have to had to share you know, with, like, my best friend. No matter what means no matter what. But whatever. What else was there? Okay. So, all right. So my thoughts. So as far as, like, my thoughts go, as far as, like, you know, reading so far, one of the things that I'm noticing that each introduction kind of, like, Ellen does, like, a recap of, like, some of the things, like, whether that's, like, just culturally speaking, politically speaking, pop culture speaking, or whatever. She does, like, a little recap of what was taking place or what was being talked about that year. Don't really understand the significance of it. There was only one time where it actually had an impact in the actual narrative or the actual characters' lives, and that was 9/11. Everything else, the characters don't talk about it. It just kind of felt like we were doing a little bit of recapping, like remembering what happened during that time in order to kind of like give us the feeling of that particular time. But then when we read into the story, there's nothing that kind of reflects like what was happening during that time. And then there are some things that she was talking about, and I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were times that I do understand, you know, like, of course, I knew, like, about the Janet Jackson malfunction, 9/11, and I think there was it was like something about Windows 98 or Microsoft 98 or something like that, which I don't even remember, but I know what Microsoft is. But there was a lot of things in there that when she was talking about them, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know what that is. And I kind of felt like I wanted to skim through it because I'm feeling like it's really nothing. There was no importance to it other than to just create a setting. But I don't know. I'm going to continue to like read it or whatever just for the sake of saying that I read it. But I don't see no correlation. I don't see no connection. So I don't really understand why that is a thing. Also, too, I thought this was only coming from Jake and Mallory's perspective. But like I said, before we get into Ursula's perspective, which I felt like, oh my God, her perspective, I wish we get more, honestly. I like Ursula's perspective. And even though, like I said, like she's supposed to be an unlikable character, but she feels more fleshed out. She feels more well-rounded. Like when she has her affair with Anders, I wish we would have got more of it. Like I would love, like that narrative, I would have wanted that, because it's like having someone who's such a, like, she has such a tough exterior, and like she, when it comes down to her work and just her work ethics, she's very like strong-minded, and she's very tough on herself, and just have things to be very particular. And so to kind of find someone who was like able to kind of like soften her up and make her cave and like dust the cobwebs off of her, I would have loved to see that. And then to come to find out the baby wasn't even his, I would have loved to see that. Like, how does she deal with it? Like, what's going on? Like, I want to know everything about Ursula, and we just don't really get her because we got to freaking like focus on Mallory and freaking Jake McCloud. They were trying to do Ursula dirty, and I was like, you can never make me hate her unless she does something diabolical. You know, I mean, cheating is diabolical, but it's like, look, he's cheating on her, so I don't care. I just would have loved to see that. And the way that Anderson, like, ran out on her, like he switched job locations. Like, he was like, a kid's not mine. If it's mine, you get it, it's not mine. And he dipped. Like, he asked for a transfer and he was gone. Like, I was like, but she handled it like a champ. And so, you know, I would have loved to have that story more than anything. Yeah, I never understood why Brer even had a perspective. Like I felt like he was just only there to just like talk about how, like, you know, how he felt about Mallory. Like, I've already explained about how like the author tries to make Mallory, you know, be like she's so sought after. It's just more so in a lustrous. Is lustrous a word? Let me make sure. Yeah. In a more lustrous way, like, you know, I personally don't like that, because once again, I don't see it. Like, I don't see it. It's like I'm looking and I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard for me to like get on board with Mallory. And I feel like the more I'm like, the more I say no, the more I resist, the more like they kind of like push it on me. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room, and the reason why I decided to close this book and come here and have this conversation with you guys. So she meets this guy. He has money. Actually, she met him before he sold the car. So she's driving in the whip that he bought for himself and he had to sell to her. So there is history a little bit, or whatever the case may be. And things are going well. He seems really promising, and he checks all the boxes for her. But she decides to kick him to the curb because she's comparing her infatuation with Jake to how she feels about Scott. And her son Link has created a connection with Scott. The dog has created a connection with her, and you know, things are going so well, and she's just like, I can't do it because I need to stay here. I need to stick beside Jake. And she was even going to feign sickness to skip out on her best friend Apple's wedding, because it landed the same weekend as her and Jake's tradition. And it's like, they don't really do anything. Like that one time she took him on a boat or whatever, they do things in secret. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have settled for a life of a relationship of secrecy. And so it's like, this can't be fulfilling. You are lonely. And then there are times where she's thinking, like, you know, like she knows, like, you know, she could be like not necessarily making a mistake, because she wouldn't dare say that. But it's like, she knows what she's doing is just crazy talk. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, Jake is with Ursula. Jake has a child. Jake has a family. Jake is occupied, you know, outside of Labor Day weekend. She has literally put her life, the progression of her life and her relationships and all that, she has halted that progression right, to remain stagnant as his 1 weekend a year side piece. And I don't understand, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? This is crazy. This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Ursula knows about Jake and Mallory, because she has been asking some questions, but she hasn't really primed. I just don't think she cares enough to really truly investigate. Right? I feel like if she really wanted to find the answers, she could. But it's like, there's no way that they're all like just doing this in secret and like nobody freaking knows. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like, granted, Cooper could have found out if he really wanted to, but he was just so like, whatever. Cooper is, I'm gonna just leave it at that. He could have figured it out if he wanted to, but he just didn't have the awareness. I'll say that. He didn't have the awareness at that time to really figure it out, because they were not hiding it. Oh yeah, poor Scott. I'm so sad. Like, what? Why do we do this? Why do we do this? What is wrong with this girl? And I'm trying to understand, because I'm like, like, she grew up. I'm just thinking about, like, a lot of things, you could always trace back a lot of our stuff to our childhood. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly feel like there's something that has to do with her childhood that causes her to just be this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still don't think she's grown, even though we're in her 30s right now. She still hasn't grown up. I'm willing to be open-minded enough to believe that Mallory is in love with Jake, and Jake in love with Mallory. I just don't think that that's the case in this instance. I just think that she's highly infatuated with Jake for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? And I really hope that we can explore it, and it just not just be left at like, I just love Jake, and then that's just that. Like, I want to know why. Why won't Jake just leave Ursula and just be with Mallory? Why does Mallory just say like, hey, like, let's be together? Why allow yourself to, because more importantly, this is Mallory's doing. This dynamic was constructed by Mallory. You know what I'm saying? And so I genuinely want to know, like, why is it this way? I want to know. Like, is it because of Kitty? And just her being overbearing and like extremely judgmental? Does this have to do with the influence of her Aunt Greta? I genuinely don't know. Maybe I have to really sit and think about it, but I don't really care too much. Oh, let me talk about this part. Oh my gosh. There's that section, she's talking about all her flaws. Oh my God. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, when I was reading her flaws and she was just sitting there talking about them, she was attempting to make a list out of them. Like when you're at a job interview and like you're trying to get the job, you're trying to book the job, right? But they ask you these trick questions or whatever the case may be to see how well you can answer them. And the question, that's presented is, what are your weaknesses? And you say, one of my weaknesses is I work too hard. I just don't know how to stop working because I get so addicted to working. Like, once I think about working is all I can think about. I can't stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone has to literally tell me like, hey, stop working because like I love work so much. So when she's sitting there saying like, oh, I have so many flaws. I'm just so flawed. I don't like lima beans. I don't like beans at all, actually. And I was like, girl, that's not a flaw. Like, what are you talking? I hate books like that because it's like we try to stay on the lines, right? We told the line of like, my character is so perfect. The only flaw is that she has a gap tooth and she doesn't like lima beans or any beans, right? Like, she snaps at her kid if he takes too long and if he plays too much in the tub, right? She has to like talk in her stern voice when, like she's, talking to a parent about, a kid's behavior or whatever the case may be. That's a flaw. What are we talking about? The only way that her not liking lima beans or beans is a flaw is if Scott genuinely loves and he cannot live without beans. He's freaking beans from freaking Even Stevens. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, that's not a flaw. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just reading it. I'm literally reading the book and I'm just like this. Like, girl, that's not a flaw. What are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? And it's hard for me to distinguish whether or not, like, she's saying it in order to make excuses for why she shouldn't be with Scott or why Scott shouldn't be with her. Or if, like, this is, like, these are her flaws, you know, because this is my character that I've created and these are the flaws. To make it seem like she's like, hey, I'm relatable because I have a little bit of flaws, but like I'm also perfect. I'm like every guy's wet dream or whatever the case may be. And it's just like, girl, these are not flaws. I don't know what you're talking about, but these are not flaws. These are not flaws. You want to know a flaw? I am addicted. I am an emotional eater. When I get upset, if I'm sad or if I'm happy, I am eating and it's hard for me to stop. Food is my coping mechanism. That's a flaw. Okay, not liking lima beans. Okay, so you don't like lima beans. That's not a flaw. I had lima beans growing up, but I get it. Like, it's not a big deal. You don't like lima beans. Okay. Okay. But that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about. I gotta go though, because my husband, he keeps calling me. And I am recording instead of just picking up anything. Something could be happening, so I need to go. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. Once again, I am enjoying this book so far. I think I would give it it's like giving me like 3 stars. So I have a like kind of like a tier type thing. So I have my fun reads, which I would classify this like as like a fun read, right? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I'm flying through the pages. It really doesn't take that much, like, it's not as thought provoking. You know, it gets the conversation going in the sense of like, ooh, like we discussing like juicy details and all that stuff like that. But it's a fun read, you know, and for me, I would give it like a 3 stars. 3 stars isn't bad. So far, I'll give it 3 stars. And then I also have my above average books. So those are like my bourgeoisie books, right? So it's like, it's not like top tier. Like that's my elite, right? That's the 10%, you know, the ones that rule the world type thing. That's the 10% where we have the classics, right? The Leo Tolstoy, the Fyodor Dostoevsky, James Baldwin, Maya Angelou, right? Those type of books. I have my bourgeoisie books where it's just like, I read these books because I feel when I want to feel better than people who just read fun reads, right? Easy reads. Like these are like, we got real problems going on here. Okay. Some serious issues, right? That we're breaking like generational trauma with these books. So I have my fun reads, I have my bourgeoisie, and then I have my elite. And to me, I would classify this as a fun read. Okay, nothing too serious. You know, we dealing with childish antics. You know what I'm saying? And there's no growth. I don't think there's going to be any growth coming from this reading experience, but I would give it like a 3 stars so far. But anyways, I gotta go because it's starting to get chaotic up in here, and so I will speak to you guys later. I hope you guys were able to enjoy yourselves. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this Friday Reads. Oh, it feels so good to be back. I'm just so happy. I'm so happy to be back. I feel so much happier. Oh my gosh, like I'm doing so much. Like I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to get myself back into a groove. I'm homeschooling, and so I'm getting like that whole situation like back on track. And so this makes me feel so satisfied with my life and with myself. And so anyways, I gotta go. Bye.